Hey, John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, and now we've got Big Tall beers in front of us because that's awesome. It's another tasting video, and another one of Mike's beers. The guy is getting on the horse. He's brewing again. It's like this is like their hobby or something.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm guessing this is a Hefeweizen?
Yeah, despite what the audience might want to think is we're drinking a hazy IPA, no, we're going back to the original haze, a German, what I'm going to call Hefeweizen, although the BJCP doesn't want us to call it that anymore. This is a German Weissbier.
I see.
Okay?
Nice.
So this is the class, this is the, so it's basically 50% wheat, 50% pills, and I used I didn't write it down here, but I used the Weihenstephaner Y yeast.
Yay.
The classic, that's the only thing you should do. The hops on this were a little bit interesting. When I brewed this, I just had what I had. So
Cashmere hops?
Cashmere hops. No, this is a little bit of, like an ounce of Tettnang at 60, and then it's an ounce of, I had 2 packages of really low alpha Hallertau.
Okay.
So 2 ounces of that went in at like 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not like that's coming through on the aroma or anything.
I brewed this on the 13th of July, so it's actually very fresh. You know why? Because it's a wheat beer, you should drink it fresh. So what's interesting about this beer, before I get a chance to taste it, is for some reason, every like February or March, even though it's cold, and it's not really wheat beer season.
You crave this?
I crave Hefeweizen. I don't know why. So, I bought these ingredients back then. I had since used most of them for other stuff, but I have a 55-pound sack of Pilsner malt, so I was like, you know what? I got some wheat malt, and I pulled some pills and made this because I had the yeast still sitting around. So I did make a starter of this yeast only because I bought the yeast back in like February, March. But I just did a simple 1 liter overnight. And when I brewed this, it was hot.
Yeah.
Right? So groundwater, chilling it down was nearly impossible. So I let it sit overnight in here. I pitched that yeast at like 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So what I'm predicting here is that there's going to be 0 banana ester because it ran hot.
There is none.
Which is fine actually, because I'm not sure I really like that bubblegum thing in a Hefeweizen. I think a little bit of ester is important, but I'm going to take a sip.
There was one commercial Heffy I had, and I remember being at a bar in Boston, and it was like strong banana, and I was like, wow, this is like blowing me away because it just had that strong flavor profile, and it was like, because like most of the Heffys I have are this.
I like this.
Little clovey, not
clovey.
too bad, not too like strong clovey, but and then also has that like little tart aftertaste. It like makes you want to sip a little bit more, right? Like that's why I'm almost done here. But this one had like a strong banana thing, and I was like, wow, this is so great. And I only had a short pour. It was great.
Yeah.
But so like definitely no banana in this, but a nice example of the style.
I brewed this before I really got a chance to pull out some of the temperature control equipment to convert one of these fridges into like a cooler fermentation chamber.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna let it go hot and see what happens.
Yeah.
The good news is not like punch in the face clove. It's pretty pleasant. It's soft. It's nice. So this one too. I wrote it down. This is 83 parts per million of calcium, 55 parts per million sulfate, and like 106 parts per million of chloride. So you can see I went to like a 2-to-1 chloride to sulfate ratio there, and I almost had 100 ppm calcium. So the 100% ppm calcium is there for mash pH adjustment.
Sure.
It's there. It's good for yeast need it, and it's good for flocculation. Not important in this style, but you need at least 50 ppm of calcium to get good flocculation out of most yeast. So this is a good beer. It's been really hot here now, so it's nice to have this in the keg. So we're ready to go.
Sure is. And you talked about using not like I joked about not having a lot of hop aroma.
Yep.
But it's got a nice pleasant bitter aftertaste, and that's where I think those noble hops are kind of showcasing.
Yep.
Because you have the sort of clove in like the front of that flavor profile, and then it kind of sits with you, and it's like a nice, pleasant, noble bitterness at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's well balanced, and this is probably actually the best Hefe I've done. I think.
Cheers to that.
For brewing them like once a year, once every other year, you know? And it's the only time I get to use wheat beer glass.
So
Go
there's
figure.
that.
I had to get on the tippy toes and reach way up and back to get the glasses
Look at
out.
you on your tippy toes.
On my tippy toes.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
So what would your tips be for people?
So if you want to control the so this is a yeast-driven flavor profile for this style.
Yep.
So for German Weissbier, the thing is this: if you want more of that bubblegum ester, you want to ferment it cooler, on the higher side of the 60s, just under 70 degrees, so like 68, 67. If you really want to drive banana, you want to go a little bit cooler than that, 62.
Really?
But you want to pitch more yeast because it's going to go slow.
Yeah.
If you really want it to be clovey, then let it go above 70. This was probably at like 70. It probably peaked out at like 80 degrees at one point. So hot down here. But if you pitch really healthy yeast, it's going to do most of its thing right away and then be done and sort of start to settle out. If you really want to make it go crazy with clove, then you got to go all the way back to the mash process. This is just a single infusion mash at 152. But if you want to do, if you have the ability to do a step mash, I think you want to do a rest at 130. That's a ferulic acid rest. I think it's 130. I'm probably going to be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll put it in the text under the video. 130 degrees F for ferulic acid rest. That ferulic acid is the precursor that the yeast used to make even more of that clovey phenol. Wow. So if you really want to go crazy on the clove, if that's what you like, then go for it. A cool thing to do would be to ferment it warm like this, and do another version really cool, and then figure out what you like. The super banana, the super clove, a little bit of both.
Somewhere in the middle.
To me, the idea of clove and banana just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
You're not like taking a clove and then like sprinkling it on your banana sundae.
Studding bananas with cloves.
Nobody likes that.
Nobody does.
Interesting.
If you like that, let us know.
Because that's cool. All right. Well, great example of the style. Definitely, as you said, a yeast forward style, and to really kind of nail what you like, work with your fermentation temps and certainly your pitching rate and all the things you said about that rest in between 130 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep.
Nice.
Ferulic acid.
Just in case it's ferulic, in case it's wrong. It's probably like 125 or something.
Yeah, or it might be like 113. There's a 3 in there somewhere.
There's a 3 in there somewhere, all right. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to check our videos out on a regular basis, because we do this every week, subscribe to our channel, hit the old notification bell, and you'll see when we post something. And if you are, into Instagram, we're at brew-dudes. That's our profile name.
All spelled out.
All spelled out, all in one word.
One word.
Yeah, because I think I started off as like brew or dudes that brew, and then I just like noticed on the comments people called us the Dash Dudes, like just the Dash. So
that's our brand.
Loving the Dash.
Loving the Dash. All right, we're all over it.
Chicks dig the Dash. That's what they say.
Awesome.
I don't know if they do or not, because
doing it for the Dash.
We're doing it for the Dash. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.